Old Man Weston here. It's been a while. I had to find my camera. And I don't make videos unless I have a deliberate, intentional reason. Your assignment for the next few weeks is to experience, if you have not already in your life, gustatory climax. What does that mean? It translates to making love to something when you eat it. Oh my gosh. So I have a penchant for cookies. I can't have them that often though, I have to be careful with sugar. But it is important when you eat something to completely enjoy every morsel. I like to eat and be quiet. Other people can talk, but I like to savor what I am ingesting. That way, if you're ever marooned on an island, you can survive on the memory and be satiated by that. It really is mind over matter, to a point. But yes, I do love my cookies. It is ecstasy, pure ecstasy. Ah, what a love affair. Anyhow, today is the 75th anniversary of D-Day, June 6th, 1944. I bring that to attention because if you watched my previous video, I am from another time. I have been around. I know my soul has. It's not a matter of opinion. I know it in my core. I feel it. I would like to read to you from my newest book. It's not out yet, but I just want to give some insight. It addresses depression, but it's not specifically about depression. The genre is psychology. The title of the book is The Gift of Blindness, subtitle Awadanzi. Awadanzi explains itself in the book, naturally, and it is a higher state of being. Granted, staring at me while I read probably isn't high on your list, so if you'd like to close your eyes or look out the window and just listen to my voice, that would be great. As a writer, a poet, I go to great depths, hastened and exacerbated by depression. In such moments I can see the world in its most essential form, and how ridiculous we humans make it. Depression actually creates a tunnel of clarity like no other, if you experience it long enough. Life as a whole is examined, the meaning of existence. Once upon a time in a poem I wrote, "Going blind to save my life." When I wrote this, I was talking about living lightly. Some people blithely go along and don't venture into the perilous zone, the deep waters, beyond the breakers. A person risks his life, his sanity, in venturing out too far. And yet, being so close to death, you are never more alive. Have you ever experienced that feeling? Now in the novel, this is a conversation between the main character, Tom Willoughby, and Sarah Skye. So he is speaking to her when he says, "Have you ever experienced that feeling?" Sarah Skye responds, "No, I don't think so." His response to her, "Then you haven't lived enough." I think about death on a regular basis, and I don't mean that in terms of suicidal ideology. There is a great book in terms of content. How else would a book be great if it's not in terms of content? It's an interesting question. maybe in terms of graphics or language, but the content doesn't necessarily have to be great. However, I digress. It's called The Denial of Death. We go through life thinking there's always time. Many people put things off until it's too late. My recommendation, if you have listened this far, is to always, always look at the sky, at least once a day. I love the sky. I will read you another passage from The Gift of Blindness. Hopefully this book will be out in the fall and available on Amazon. You can type in my name for my current book, Who Has Known Heights. I made another video about that. And Who Has Known Heights is a Bildungsroman about being a hybrid. My preferred term for transgender. Because if you don't know by now, and this is your first video of me, I transitioned from female to male when I was 20. That's over 50 years ago. Think I'm serious? There were times when Tom Willoughby believed he would go mad. Truly go mad. He sat at the traffic light watching the endless hither and dithering frenzy. Where were all these people going? What were their lives like? It could have been Tuesday or Saturday. It made no difference to Tom Willoughby. He missed being in love, that natural, profound connection, rare to most, rarer still to an old soul like himself. With Sarah Sky, he felt at home. He recognized something inside her, something that required fine-tuning to pick up. Often their frequencies were tuned to the same wavelength. Willoughby watched people. He also listened to them. He remembered the names of cashiers at drive-through windows when they introduced themselves on the speaker box. He looked at the sky and told himself to savor the clouds. He loved clouds. He considered all the private thoughts that pass through a person's mind, even as that person smiles or banters. He was conscious of the sensations behind the exterior. The menstruating woman experiencing severe cramps as she teaches students, talks to a client, or bags the customer's groceries at Trader Joe's. Never letting on, but something, a flinch, practically imperceptible, expresses itself. She hesitates, becomes self-conscious for that millisecond, wondering if others know what she knows. The same as a stomach gurgling. Willoughby didn't like to think of Sarah Sky being too human. Of course, he self-counseled that to think of her as pure, devoid of bodily functions, was romanticizing and ridiculous. So much occurs in the background with no one knowing or calling it to attention. I'm going to skip that part. To look at someone, you never could tell for sure what he or she did or didn't do, had or hadn't done. This intuition, this intrigued and disturbed Willoughby. What it comes down to is intuition, getting a sense of who and what the other person is about. Every life possesses a private vault. Decoding Sarah's private vault made him feel alive. He wasn't motivated by diamonds, emeralds, or rubies. If Sarah's vault turned out to contain only a bird's nest or just a favorite pair of earrings, that would be enough. It wasn't the object within the vault that beckoned him. It was the process of decoding and coming inside, being welcomed. For Sarah Sky to desire being known by Willoughby. This is what allured him. He neither wanted to break in nor be shown in. He longed to be invited in, trusted unequivocally. So that is from The Gift of Blindness, and the chapter is called The Woman Who Makes Me Feel Safe. Today is, if you listen to my introductory, the day after D-Day, 2019. Our lives are very short in the eons of existence. It puts me in mind of a sonar screen. It's just going along, and then there's this blip. And that's how short our lives are. Maybe 40, 80 years. You never know. And that's why I think it's important to always be conscious that today could be your last day. And when I say you, I'm also including myself. There are no guarantees. And that's nothing to be afraid of. It just, when you look at life in those terms, it makes balancing difficult at times. Because I don't cater to what most of society does. Yes, I know we have to go to work and pay bills. But I sit there and I say, what have we created? What are we doing? A lot of people, not all, I never make generalizations, a lot of people hate going to work. It becomes a grind, or it's so routine. They may not hate it, but it's a routine. And they get stuck in this, well, it's just a rut, and life passes by, years after year. And I was thinking about this last night. What it boils down to, it's not if you're successful in planning for the future, your retirement. At the end of the day, that's not what's important. What matters is if you had a chance to experience what you truly felt and desired, you needed and wanted to know in life. We are here to experience. And it's about striving to be decent, maintaining that goodness when life will throw shit in your face. One of the most painful things you can ever experience is to be misunderstood. Many individuals kill themselves because they're misunderstood. I understand that pain. It didn't break my heart. It shattered it. And when that happens, you have two choices. You can either become angry and turn whatever that person did to you into something negative, or you can continue to persevere and think of that person in good terms and make something positive out of it. It is not easy. God knows that. But that is your choice. And it's not an active choice, per se. Sometimes you do things unconsciously. And that's where it's critical. You have to step back and behind your choices and ask why. Why you're doing something. What is the motivation? And for whom are you doing it? I realize this is very stream of consciousness. But my